So Frisco, Texas, by the way, which is sometimes confused with Frisco, Colorado and other places, and it's not short for San Francisco, but we are a suburb that is north of Dallas, about 30 miles, and we've been a very high growth organization as well as city for a number of years. And that growth has really been the impetus of what's really pushed us in terms of what we're looking at for our business development as well. So we are a community first, and that community is made up of not only people and schools, but also our businesses. And our primary goal here at the Economic Development Corporation is to assist with that part of our growth related to our businesses and business development. You know, one of the things that really has helped set Frisco apart is our public-private partnerships. When we talk about that public-private, it is between our business community and the public agencies, not just the City of Frisco, but the Frisco Economic Development Corporation, the Frisco Community Development Corporation, but also our partner at the Frisco Independent School District, who has been a very, very big part of all that we've been doing. And so, related back to the story of the star, how did it happen? What happened? Well, you kind of have to back up quite a number of years, but the Community Development Corporation actually purchased a 91-acre site. The property itself was being held by a bank, and so we said, that is a hard corner right on the tollway and one of our main roadways at Warren. It might be really good to be able to get some control over that so we can kind of help set our own destiny. So we went through the process, and the Community Development Corporation actually purchased the property. And then the property just sat for a little while. It was an investment for us to be able to wait for the right thing. Several months later, we heard an opportunity that we had someone come to us who had heard that Mr. Jones was looking for a new home for the Dallas Cowboys, not only for their practice facility, but also their headquarters. We actually were able to, in a very short time frame, come to a very good agreement with Mr. Jones and the family to actually relocate the Dallas Cowboys headquarters offices and also build a new facility that would become the home of not only their headquarters, but also the team and their practice facility. All that happened in about a 90-day period. And a lot of people have joked about, how in the world did you do it that fast? You must have done something wrong. Well, the reality is we had already done this kind of a project 3 times before. And so what we did was we took that model and we just replicated it a 4th time. Those other entities happened to be the Rough Riders and the stadium. It happened to be with the Dallas Stars and their headquarters and practice facility here. And then also the last one being FC Dallas and the stadium for the soccer team. Mr. Jones brought a vision to the table that was broader, though, than his headquarters and just a practice facility. There was this idea of a district that had entertainment, that has restaurants, that has retail, and that became known as the Star. But what really made all of this special? Well, first of all, let me say having the Dallas Cowboys is pretty special, okay? But what made it extra special was the fact that our partner, the school district, was in this project from day one. And because at the end of the day, we designed a facility that not only could function as a practice facility for the Dallas Cowboys, but also a game day facility for the Frisco Independent School District. And so they actually play game day football games in the same facility where the Cowboys practice. But not only that, they don't just play football in there. They have soccer, they have lacrosse, they have a number of other events that they do there. Matter of fact, they were on the team that actually helped design the facility from the ground up. And so when we came to the table to sit around and talk about how are we going to design it, what's it going to look like, we had the Dallas Cowboys, we had the City of Frisco, and we had this independent school district sitting at the table and help us come up with what this needs to look like and how it would operate. This is a project that really came together because not just the city, but the Independent School District, the Community Development Corporation, and the Economic Development Corporation all coming together with the Cowboys to be able to deliver this phenomenal facility. At the end of the day, when people look at these projects, and again, whether that's the Star or FC Dallas or any of the rest of them, a lot of people ask, how do you do that? How do you make it work? But also, how can we do it? That question of how can we replicate these things? Really, it all starts back with a very simple concept. When the city of Frisco and the school district sit at a table, we always sit at that table with that mindset of how can we help each other. The reality is that we all know each other and we all have a common vision. That's how we've been able to do what we do in Frisco. And that's how other communities can do it too. They've got to come together and work together. We have communities who come and visit literally from across the state and from across the nation who come in and talk to us about, hey, we saw you did this project. How did you make that happen? And the first thing that we always ask them is, do you know your county representatives? Do you know your school district representatives? Do you work together? Do you have a common vision for your community? And if they don't, our very first recommendation is go back and build that first. Before you try and build a building or build a relationship with a third party who is a business, like the Cowboys or FC Dallas or the Stars or any of these other groups, go build that relationship first, because that's where it starts. You got to start at home. And what's at home is the district, the county, the city. And if you can all pull together and all work together and get that common vision, then you can make these kinds of things happen. So I would simply say to the folks who are watching this is that if you get the chance to do a project, think about doing it in partnership, in a joint venture way, and then making sure that when you do bring that private business in, that it's also a win-win for not only all the public agencies, the schools, the county, the city, but it's also a win for the private business. Because if you can all win, you really have made a huge, giant step forward being able to do these kinds of projects. One of the things that we talk about too is that we have different business segments, and all of us who work in economic development, we know those. But what we started doing was saying, okay, what can we then take as a business segment? Let's use sports and do additive value. Well, then we got into, well, what about medicine that is sports medicine? What about a University of North Texas that is also now bringing degree programs that is based on sports medicine, that's based on sports management? So you begin to see that while the sports kind of sets us apart, it also ties us to everybody and everything else. That helps build a very strong economy. And it's one of the things that we focus on here in Frisco to try and, in addition to the sports, help set us apart a little bit. It's also important to remember that Frisco looks at other places too. It's important for us that we're always learning. We can't ever assume we made it, because the day we assume we made it, we've probably failed. We got to keep looking, and learning from other people. I mean, at one point, when I first started with Frisco, it was 6,200 people in this community. We're 200,000 plus now. And so there were many times we were out looking at other communities and learning from them on a regular basis. One of the great things, though, is we didn't stop looking. We continue to look and continue to learn. Every city is different. Every community is different. And you may not have a star. You may not have that type of a development. But what you do have is you have the resources already there. It's just you got to connect with them. Knowing that you got to pull together with your school district, with your county, with your city officials, all come together to be able to deliver whatever it is that comes to you and your opportunities. Like I said, it may not be a star, it might be a business park, it may be an office building, it may be a number of things. But remember that to be able to reach out and pull in those resources and work together, you do have those assets that you can begin to cultivate and can begin to use for whatever it is that you are going after and whatever your vision is for your community. Just remember, every community is different, which means your vision is going to be different. All I can say to you is this: pull those resources together and then go for it.